Hello everyone, and thank you for your support on this channel. Today we are continuing our series of tutorials on Node-RED. We know Node-RED is a programming tool and it's mostly used in the IoT and IIoT industries. Today we're going to look at another node called Watcher, and it has a very real-world use case where any changes made to a directory or a file are captured, and systems downstream can do add data to that or do some transformation before the application can perhaps use that information in a more practical manner. So how we laid out the flow is we have a watcher node. As you can see here, I have a watcher node, I have a read file node, I have a function node, and a debug node. So very straightforward. What's going to happen is as we make changes to a directory or a file, Watcher is going to pick up that change, alert downstream, and then we have the read node which will read that file, and then we have a function node which I'll show a couple of different functions where we can do some data changes or data transformation on the file that was changed, and then in the debug node we'll show the output as it changes. So let's get started. Watcher, as I said, is a node that watches a directory or a file for changes. So let's get started, and to set it up we just specify where that which directory are we interested in. So in this case we're interested in /data, and if you've seen the earlier tutorials, you know that this is the mapped directory and that Docker container, and any files that are located here are then captured by the running process. So and I'm just giving it a name, Watcher. Again, it could be any name that makes sense. So that's set up already. In the read file, it's also very straightforward. We are saying we're reading the message.payload that's coming in. We're reading a message per line. We have some other options to keep it simple. We're just going to read all the lines in that, line by line, in that incoming text. Encoding I've kept as default, and we can give it a name as a reader or read file. Right, that's done. Let's have a look at the function. So in this case what we want to do is as the file is changed, perhaps we're receiving file that's all in lowercase and we want to convert it into uppercase before sending it out to another application downstream. So let's just quickly, it's a very simple function, let's add it here. So all we're doing is we're defining a variable upper. It's getting the value that's coming in the message.payload, then upper gets the message.payload to uppercase. That's a JavaScript function that we run on it, and then we assign that value back to the message.payload and return that as a message. So again, very straightforward, and if you watched the earlier tutorials, which I'm sure I will link them towards the end of this tutorial, you can get a better understanding of how these nodes work and how the function node works and how you can write those functions. And finally the debug node. So nothing's changed here, just we're sending out the complete message object and showing it in the debug window. So that's good. Let's deploy it, and let's go to our console here in our Unix box, and let's do a quick listing, and we're interested in the lower.txt. So if I just do a less on this, we see we've got like three lines there. So let's make some changes, and let's remove this one, and instead let's say Okay, and let's save that. So we made some changes, and as you can see on the right hand side, we have those 3 lines, and all of them are converted using the function node into uppercase. So you can see this line is converted, the second one is this sentence lower or upper, that's converted as well, and finally the one that we just added, this is a tutorial on watcher node, that also got converted into uppercase. So again, a very simple example of that function node, but the idea is to align it to a real world use case where perhaps a file is dropped daily or twice a day in a certain folder. We are just watching out for that, or polling that that directory or that folder, and as soon as a file is dropped or a file is changed, we then kick into action. We make some changes as defined by that business logic, and then send that file out. So that was one example. Let's have another one where we are adding, or let me just add another line, and we can see how that okay, let's see how that is picked up. So you can see yet another lowercase sentence. Again, it's picked up successfully and processed as uppercase. Now let's do another thing where we create a new file. So let's call it watcher.watch, and once it's created, and I'll just do a quick ls, you can see that we just created that file here, and here in the debug you can see that a watcher.watch file is created. So because watcher is watching that /data directory or folder, any changes we make to a file are captured there. Let's look at another example where as we receive a file, we run a function to perhaps replace some text with another text, right? One use case that comes to mind is let's say that we're receiving 2 types of files, one ending with the .zip, another ending with the .txt, and based on the extension, we then make some changes on that particular file. Perhaps we modify the date, or we add a date or a timestamp to that file. There are multiple ways we can make changes to that. So let's make a quick change here in the function node and see how we can demonstrate that. So let's go here. Let's remove this text, and we'll replace it with this one here, which I can quickly explain. So we are defining a variable called repl, and all it's doing is that it's doing a dot replace, and it's replacing info words with universe, and then that value is being assigned to message.payload, and that's what we're returning. Okay, let's run that. Let's clear the screen. Let's redeploy. And when we go here and we do an ls, we want to use the replace text. So you can see I have some text there. Let's save that. And as we can see, let's just have a look again. So we have an example of using replace to change command text. Hello Infoverse becomes hello universe using replace command. So we should see those changes taking place here. Okay, let's get rid of these files, and let's take a look at the function node. I don't believe it's making those changes, so let's see what's going on. Okay, I see what the issue is. As you can see in the actual function, because this is case sensitive, we have info words with a small I, and here in the text we see all of them are starting with capital I. That's why it's not making any changes. So let's do those changes, and let's change this to a small, and the one below that, let's change that to, and let's rerun that. Okay. Now if we make some changes, that should work. There's another line, hello infowars, and this time I'm gonna make sure that it matches what we are replacing with. So if you notice, now we got the hello universe, and the simple reason is, if we just do a less on this, this is the only one that actually matches. If you see here, we have the capital I, we have the small case I here, but because we have a capital V in the middle, these three lines are not matching. The only line that's matching is the last line that we added, and you can see it here that the function successfully changed it to hello universe, right? So this is an example of a real world example where you're getting a file, a change in a file, watcher is detecting it, and then a function is changing or transforming that data. Now let's look at another example where if we go here in watcher and we select to watch subdirectories as well and recursively, and let's go here, let's redeploy, let's clean up the debug, and I just want to show you something here that, so we are in the slash data, and what we're going to do is we want to create a file inside that. So let's do make directory, let's call it watcher files, right? So we have that, and now if we go into cd watcher files and do because watcher is configured to watch even the subdirectories, you can see that under the watcher files it was able to capture that a watcher2.watch file was added. And if you just do you can see it's added there, and if you do a print working directory, you see that we are actually in a subdirectory. So this is a short tutorial on watcher. Like I said, it has a use case in the real world, and I just wanted to show you with a couple of very straightforward examples of how if a file or a directory is changed, how it's picked up, how you can manipulate or transform that data using a function, and then it can be set up to be used by another application in the flow. So thank you for watching. I look forward to your comments on this and how we can make this better, perhaps include more examples and stay tuned, because I will be creating more tutorials on various ways of enhancing the Node-RED flow, and with some applications in the IoT and IIoT industries. Thank you for watching.